This video is going to feature prepping for vehicle theft. Just this last year, my father-in-law had his Jeep stolen outside of our home when he came over for dinner. So we had to put various preparedness measures into place to make sure that all of our vehicles were protected. There's a lot to cover in this video. Let's just get right down to it. This video features prepping for vehicle theft. Let's get started. Hey everyone, my name is Cliff, also known as the Urban Prepper, and on my channel I focus on emergency preparedness topics in an urban environment. So again, this video all started because my father-in-law's Jeep was stolen outside of our home. We had him over for dinner, and within 10 minutes the Jeep was stolen. So the thief was able to unlock the door, hotwire the vehicle, and just take off with it in broad daylight. Let's talk a little bit more specific about that situation, and then some of the preparedness measures that we've put in place since then. In a previous video, I covered the topic of having preps for your home perimeter system. So having things like security cameras, motion-activated floodlights, and also motion sensors, which has a chime that sounds if someone walks by a particular sensor. The Jeep was parked on the street and was outside of the home perimeter when it was stolen, so I wasn't able to get any kind of camera footage. Within a matter of minutes, the thief was able to break into the car, hotwire the car, and take off with it. This is very common in the area that I live in. Oftentimes, thieves will steal a car and use it for other criminal activities. We knew immediately that the Jeep was stolen, but at the time we had no way of tracking it. The criminal that stole this Jeep used it for other criminal activities. They used it in the Federal Way area of Washington to do a bunch of armed robberies, and it was their takeoff vehicle. This is after they used it for joyriding for a little bit. Oftentimes what thieves do is that they'll steal the car and then they'll park it somewhere for a couple of days to see if it has a low jack or any other type of GPS tracking. If it's still where they parked it after joyriding it for a little bit, they'll then use it for those criminal activities. We eventually found the Jeep in an impound lot in Federal Way. The thief that stole it was eventually arrested during an active armed robbery at a hotel. For several days, the thief was doing armed robberies at hotels and stealing luggage. After the police arrested him, the Jeep was towed to the impound lot, which is when we were finally notified about it. There wasn't any body damage to the Jeep, but there was definitely internal damage on all of the locks. All of the interior items were removed from the Jeep, and the suspension was all messed up. It was also completely filled with stolen luggage. When we contacted the police about the stolen luggage, they said, well, it's yours now. Just call us back if you find any firearms or drugs. So we went through all the luggage and found a bunch of stolen items, including identity theft information. We destroyed all of that paperwork and donated most of the stolen items to charity, which mainly included jewelry and Air Jordans. So even though my father-in-law lost all of the items that were stored inside of the Jeep, he at least got the Jeep back. Unfortunately, the state of Washington and the Seattle area is a hotbed for vehicle theft. Here are some of the current stats on vehicle theft. As you might have guessed, the state of California has the highest yearly rates of vehicle thefts as of 2022, but the state of Washington ranks third. When you look into the individual metro areas, California still represents the highest yearly rate of theft, with Bakersfield, California being the #1 hotspot for vehicle theft, followed by other cities such as Denver, Albuquerque, Portland, San Francisco, and the Seattle-Tacoma-Bellevue area ranks 9th. While California takes the top spot for most instances of vehicle theft, there's only been a 1% increase from the previous year. The state of Washington has had the second highest increase in vehicle theft from 2021 to 2022, with a 31% increase. The highest is the state of Illinois, who has a 35% increase in vehicle theft. I provided more information for this in the description box of this video. In my opinion, you can't really stop vehicle theft. If someone really wants to steal your vehicle and they have the time and access to do it, they're going to do it. You could only really deter theft. Here's a few things that you could do for free to help reduce the risk of vehicle theft. So things like parking in well-lit areas, never leave your keys in the ignition, lock up thoroughly and have your windows all rolled up, remove all valuables from your vehicle, make sure that your insurance policy includes theft coverage for added security, and try to avoid parking in shady areas. Probably the best thing to do is just get out of the city altogether, but a lot of us can't do that. So like John Wick, after peacefully minding my own business, I had to get my prepper hat on and get to work. So the main thing that I wanted to focus on was 1, having a deterrent for them actually stealing the vehicle, and 2, if they do steal it, having some method of tracking to be able to find the vehicle. So the most common thing to do for a deterrent is to have a steering wheel lock. There's a few different designs of steering wheel locks that you could go with. You could go with the old school club design, which attaches to your steering wheel and basically makes it very hard to turn the steering wheel because you have a big metal rod that's sticking out and would hit your legs as you're driving. I went with the Tefla steering wheel lock, which is highly rated. It also includes an emergency window hammer. It's made of high hardness alloy steel and offers superior cut resistance. You could also go with the steering wheel brake lock. I also purchased the Teflon universal steering wheel brake lock. This one attaches to the steering wheel, and then the other end attaches to either the brake or clutch. So the thief would have to cut through it or somehow get it off of the steering wheel to be able to use the brake or clutch. You could even go with both the steering wheel lock and also the steering wheel brake lock for double protection. This method of deterrent is fairly budget friendly, but not quite 100% deterrent. Skilled thieves are still able to get around them by having some sort of cutting tool or even cutting the steering wheel itself. I have a lot of friends and family that have had their vehicles stolen even though they had the club attached to it. Most of the times, the thieves just cut through the steering wheel to remove the device. So a few months ago, I went to a family reunion, and my cousin, who lives in an area that has a lot of vehicle theft and who has had his vehicle stolen, showed me the best deterrent that I've found so far, and that is called the disc lock steering wheel lock, which is very popular in the UK. This is a full cover security device for your steering wheel. It completely wraps around the steering wheel. Its unique feature allows it to spin freely on the steering wheel without fixing or attaching to it, which effectively immobilizes the steering wheel upon fitting. The locking barrel boasts a hardened anti-drill and anti-pick design. It's pretty heavy too. It's made of hardened steel and weighs between 8 and 11 pounds depending on the size that you get. The main benefit of this one is that it's a powerful visual deterrent, but it's also a very tough design that could withstand any attack using manual tools. Ever since my cousin got this particular device, the thieves have been going to other cars and not his. So he highly recommended it to me, and I had to pick it up for myself. The problem with this one is that it's pretty expensive, at over $200 US. But if you have an expensive vehicle, that's a small price to pay for the added security. I've provided a link to all of the security devices in the PDF document that's included in this video. So after having a deterrent for thieves stealing my vehicle, I also wanted to have some method of tracking the vehicle. A tracking device won't stop your vehicle being stolen, but it will significantly increase the chances of it being recovered, either by yourself or from the police. So what I wanted was real-time tracking. There's a lot of cheap spy trackers that you could get on Amazon, but what I did was go with a burner phone. So I used an old phone that I was no longer using and installed tracking software on it. I'm an Android user, so I used Life 360, which even allows you to set up geofences if you like. The problem with using a burner phone is that you have to keep it powered, because phones usually die after a couple days, even if they're not used. So the main thing I had to do was how to keep it powered. So in the back of both of our vehicles, we have one of those car cigarette lighters that allows you to charge devices. I use an Anker cigarette lighter adapter for USB charging. But what do you do when the vehicle is off? That port won't work when the vehicle's off. So what I wanted to do was have a USB power bank back there to charge the device. The problem is that you need to have pass-through charging of that power bank so you could charge the power bank and at the same time charge the device that's connected to it. This is the feature that's not available for Anker devices. So the power banks that I know of that actually support pass-through charging are the ones made by Voltaic. Fortunately, I already had a couple of Voltaic power banks that I was using for a different prepping project. So I had the Voltaic Systems V25, which is a 6400 milliamp hour USB always-on battery backup power bank. Again, it supports pass-through charging, which makes it perfect for providing backup power to USB electronics like smartphones. It also has various protection mechanisms against short circuits, overcharging, discharging, excess currents, and high temperatures. With this power bank, you could stay connected wherever you go, especially when off the grid or during emergencies. I also have the Voltaic V50, which is a 12,800 milliamp hour power bank. So what I do is I take the burner phone, I connect it to the Voltaic power bank, and then plug the power bank into the cigarette lighter in the back of the vehicles. I then hide this complete system in a storage area or cubby in the back of the vehicle, for example, where the spare tire is. If someone were to steal the vehicle, they'll eventually clear everything out of the vehicle, including this phone. So I assume that they will find it and they'll eventually dump it or destroy it. But it does provide me with real-time tracking of the vehicles, in addition to providing me with a backup phone to use in case of an emergency. As you know, us preppers like a redundancy, so I wanted to include a hidden tracker in the vehicle. So what I went with was the Apple AirTag. The Apple AirTag is a powerful tracking device that helps you locate your belongings using the Find My app. You don't even really need to have an iPhone to have an Apple AirTag. I just have a burner iPhone, which is an older iPhone that has nothing installed in it. It doesn't have a SIM card on it. It just connects to the Wi-Fi, and I use it with the Find My app, specifically for the AirTags. The way these Apple AirTags work is that they're basically always searching for an iPhone nearby. So that means within Bluetooth range, which is around 30 feet or so. So if the Apple AirTag detects an iPhone nearby, whether it's yours or a stranger's or someone walking by, it's going to detect it and say, hey, I'm here. And it'll update its location in the cloud. You'll then be able to track that AirTag to see where it provided its most recent location. Again, I'm an Android user, but I imagine that thieves probably have their iPhones. So I figured there's two different approaches that I could use with the Apple AirTags. I could go with interior storage of the AirTag. So you could go with something like the Pelican Protector Series stick-on mount for the Apple AirTag. You could buy these in bulk from Amazon, And you could also buy the Apple AirTags in bulk. However, I didn't want to have it in the interior of the vehicle. I wanted mine stored on the exterior. So what I did is went with the Apple AirTag stored on the frame of the vehicle. To protect it from the elements, I use the Gorilla Box magnetic key holder, which is mainly designed for a backup key for your vehicle. But I store the Apple AirTag in it, in addition to a backup key to the disc lock and/or steering wheel locks. This particular box is built to endure the elements and has a very strong magnet, which is able to withstand over 50 pounds of separation force. It's waterproof, weatherproof, and made of very durable plastic. So I have mine stored underneath the vehicle and attached to the frame in a hidden location. The Apple AirTags will sometimes beep with movement, but this particular case will block some of the sound, so it should be harder for the thief to be able to find it, if they happen to notice that an AirTag was following their phone somewhere. So again, if a thief was able to steal the vehicle, get past the disc lock, steering wheel lock, and drive off with it, perhaps they would dump it at some random location, and hopefully I would be able to use either the AirTag or the burner phone with Life 360 on it to be able to track down the vehicle. Life 360 would provide me with real-time tracking of the vehicle, although it would be easily discovered by a bad guy. And the Apple AirTag is more of a backup redundancy method that will probably take a little longer to find. So that's what I set up on all of our vehicles for a deterrent and a tracking method. At that point, I thought I was all done with my preps for vehicle theft. However, then I learned about the relay attack. So some of the smart criminals are using relay technology to receive the signal from a key inside of the home and transfer it to a portable device. A lot of newer cars use a key fob for opening the car door and also using it to start the car. Usually when the key fob is near to the car will unlock automatically, and the car will only start when the key fob is nearby. If it's in your home, the vehicle won't start if someone were to break into the vehicle and press the start button. So what some smart organized crime gangs are doing are using relay technology to receive the signal from the key inside of the house and transfer it to a portable device, allowing them to unlock and drive the car, all in a matter of minutes. So thieves are exploiting the technology of the key fob and using sophisticated technology to hack into your car's computer, tricking the car to think that the key fob is right outside. A relay attack usually involves two people working together. One person stands by the targeted vehicle, while the other stands near the house with a device that could pick up the signal from the key fob. A lot of people, when they go inside of their home, just set their key by the front door, and that's what criminals bank on. So the criminal will go up to the front door, will have their relay device, and be able to relay the key fob signal all the way over to the vehicle where their buddy is. To be honest, we also were storing our key fobs on a keychain hook right by the front door. I have a Honda Element which uses a standard car key, but our Honda Pilot was vulnerable to this because we have key fobs for it. So I had to prep for the relay attack. What I did was just pick up a Faraday box to store the keys. There's a lot of different options out there. I picked up one called the Brie Idea Faraday box, which is specifically designed for key fobs. By simply placing your key inside this closed Faraday box, you'll block thieves' attempts to remotely amplify your keyless car signal. This one looks fairly nice, and we just store it by the front door. When we come home, the key fobs go in here. Let's do a quick video now to show the Faraday box in action. Outside of the box. Now let's turn the car off. Let's put it in the box. We're going to wait a few moments. All right, let's try. And those are all of the things that I am currently doing to help prevent vehicle theft. A lot of people are worried about leaving your car out when you're away for multiple days, for example, while you're on vacation. So there's a few quick things that you could do to disable your car from starting. So even if you didn't want to do anything that was covered in this video, you could do this before going on a vacation to ensure that thieves couldn't easily steal your vehicle. One, you could disconnect the battery cables. You could also disable the fuel system. Another method is to take out the ECU fuse, which is the engine control unit, or you could also remove the fuse from the ignition switch. This will disable your vehicle from starting. You could also remove the spark plug wires, or as a more extreme prevention method, you could let the air out of all 4 tires. All of these methods are fairly simple to do and would block thieves from being able to steal your vehicle while you're out on vacation. However, I like doing the additional preps to use as a deterrent, as a tracking method, and to specifically block the relay attack. That's going to do it for this video featuring prepping for vehicle theft. I hope they enjoyed watching it. I provided a PDF document. You could download it by clicking the link in the description box below. It has a list of all the items that were featured in this video. Please feel free to leave any kind of comments below in the comments section in regard to the topic of prepping for vehicle theft. Maybe you have some other preparedness measures that you've put into place for your vehicles. Please leave those comments below in the comments section and stay tuned for more emergency preparedness videos. See you next time.